Did you know that Old Town San Diego is actually considered the birthplace of California? So whether you knew that or not, if you guys are considering moving to San Diego and you're considering looking for a neighborhood with charm, culture, and some of the absolute best Mexican food I have had in all of San Diego, then you guys are not going to want to miss this video today. Check it out. All right, so for my history buffs, you guys are gonna love everything that is offered here in Old Town San Diego. This is actually the first settlement in all of California, I think dated back to 1769. Let you guys fact check that if you need to, but it's actually home to some of the most historic and old-timey buildings in all of San Diego. That includes the Whaley House. If you want to check that out, go right ahead. They have ghost tours all the time. I, however, do not want to entertain those things, so I kind of keep myself away from the spirits. What you'll love about living or being in Old Town, even if you're just visiting as a tourist when you make your relocation here to San Diego, is this is very much like a step back into the early 1800s. Now, not the whole way back, because, you know, for some of us that might not be too good of a thing, but back far enough to where you kind of get the feeling of some of the old school culture, some of the diversity, and then it also with some of the construction as well. A lot of the buildings have been preserved in such a way that it honestly kind of feels like a small Mexican village, which is ironic because it's got a lot of heritage to the Spaniards that settled here. So it makes a lot of sense. Now, if you are interested in checking this place out, you guys will notice I'm standing in the national park. It's a little empty. So this is not exactly the most poppin' national park, but what I can tell you is, aside from the national park here, some of the bazaars behind me over there, some of the shops and restaurants, there is a lot of lush history here. There are at least 2 or 3 parks that connect to this one state national park, all the way up to Presidio Park. You guys are actually gonna love touring and visiting this area, especially if, like I mentioned before, you are a huge history buff. So something else that I personally believe attributes to the charm of a place like Old Town, there are no big box stores here. There's no Walmart, there's no McDonald's, no Jack in the Box. If you guys are here in San Diego, you already know Jack in the Crack is everywhere. My 7-year-old daughter actually calls it Jack in the Crack. So of course I've said it so many times and I now call it Jack in the Crack. What you'll notice here is everything is local, from the rich Mexican stores to even the tile. You guys will see a lot of the stores are old school. You have the Mexican blankets, you have the tile, you have the pottery. There's a lot to offer here. I think the one thing that I really love here is everything you do here, from buying pottery to blankets and all those things, all support local, which is absolutely amazing. Now, with that said, let's talk about some of the food. Like I mentioned in the intro, Old Town is absolutely 100%, hands down, Terrence Davis stamp of approval, one of the best places for Mexican food in San Diego. Now, there's gonna be some haters in the comments that are gonna tell you, no, go over here, go over there. Everything here is gonna be handmade, everything's gonna be handcrafted. All of the food is here, and I'm telling you guys, Cafe Coyote has some of the best food. And your Taco Tuesdays, guys, if you ever wanna see a actual fiesta, come down to Old Town on any Taco Tuesday. It's gonna be packed. I can personally attest that during my time station here at MCRD, I was literally every single week spending all of my time here in Old Town, especially on Taco Tuesday. And for those of you that like a little bit of performance while you have your meal, guys, Cafe de Reyes is gonna be your place. All right, so let's talk real estate. Now, this is probably where I think a lot of people, no matter how much charm you're getting, this is typically where I start to lose folks. If you are interested in finding a old school, historic, traditional home, this is gonna be the place to be, especially if you are looking for one of the most culturally rich and walkable communities in all of San Diego. This is absolutely 110% gonna be the place you want to be. Now, with that said, you also have to be aware that because you are getting that, you know, old school timey home, that's gonna come with maybe some deferred maintenance as well. So I do advise, hey, before we jump into anything, before we start looking at the prices, which can be a little high, you might wanna take a look. Hold on. Train. Okay, now before you pack your bags, there are some pros and cons I want to go over just briefly with you. I'll do a whole video on the expanded versions of these, but here are some of the quick pros and quick cons that we can talk about today. Some of the pros, obviously culturally diverse and a rich environment. You guys are not going to want to miss that. Some of the other pros, walkability to the max. There are always families either walking their dogs, taking the kids out on a stroll, riding bikes. That is 110% something I have no doubt you will be doing if you choose Old Town as your premier San Diego destination. The other big piece is, of course, going to be the fact that you are centrally located to almost everything in San Diego. You are right off of Rosecrans, so you have access to the trolley, you have access to the train that runs north to south, you have access to some of the local beaches, Mission Beach, PB, Bay Park. All those places are within a short 5-minute drive, give or take. If you are an avid traveler, the airport is like legit 5 minutes. Now, I know I just mentioned that, so let's use that one to roll right into the cons. Here is one of the cons. You're gonna have to be mindful that periodically from time to time, you may hear some air traffic. I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard a whole lot, maybe once or twice, but I've got that military super hearing. Actually, technically, I think it's called tinnitus, so maybe that's kind of what's happening there. The other big con is because, like I mentioned in the pros, the trolley and the train that run north to south are both located right here. So even as I was shooting this video, there were several times I had to pause because the train was rolling right on by and its loud horn was ruining my video. So I had to shoot this like 17 times. All right, because it is a tourist destination, obviously in every single video that you're gonna hear or see in San Diego, there is going to be a problem with parking. Now, if you own a home here, not such a big deal, you're gonna park in your driveway. If you don't, however, if you're living in one of the condos or something nearby, there may be a good chance you might have a little bit of issues finding parking, especially on the weekends, but that's just one of the cons you'll have to live with. The other one, which is probably more important but still stuck to housing, is gonna be the home prices. Yes, like I mentioned in the earlier portion of this video, there are gonna be some small cons. The home prices here are a little bit higher than some of you may want, especially if you're looking for a home that's ready to go. If you are buying a home and expecting absolutely zero repairs, this might not be the place for you to go. So what do you guys think? Can you see yourself living in Old Town? If there's something you think I missed or should have added, feel free to drop that in the comment section. I can personally tell you, while I don't live in Old Town, I would love to hear some of what the locals that do live in Old Town have to say if you're watching this video. But if you're not watching this video, why aren't you watching this video? That's it for today, guys. I'm glad that you were able to stop by. Hopefully you made it to the end. If you did, drop me a like, hit subscribe, and let's talk. I'd love to help you guys on your relocation to San Diego. Peace.